Okay, our next PowerPoint will be talking about architecture and its influences. We'll be looking at different types and how it developed. So one of the first things that you have to define is it says the look of our buildings and our communities depend on two different factors and their interaction, the environment and technology. So environment is the distinct landscape characteristics of a local site, including the climate features, and then technology are the materials and methods available to that given culture. And this building here is a sort of a history of Western architecture from the Greeks to the present. College of Architecture, University of Houston. So this drawing here is an inspiration for the building that we were just looking at before, the College of Architecture, University of Houston. Um, its entire building is inspired by an 18th century plan of a house of an education designed by Lindex. Um, the main building below is reminiscent of an Italian country villa of the Renaissance, and resting on the top is the model of a Greek temple. Here in the next slide, we will see the interior. Okay, so this is the interior space of the College of Architecture, the University of Houston. As you can see, this has a cool atrium space that lies underneath columns on the roof. At the very top, you see all the columns that go around. It gives it a visual rhythm. It also offers a cool space from the hot Texas sun. There's not that many windows letting light in, so it's when you walk in, it feels like an oasis. Okay, so these are some of the very first architectural buildings that we have. Menke pyramids. The form itself may have derived from the image of the god Re, who in ancient Egypt was symbolized by the rays of the sun descending to earth. The lined stone, it reflects the light of the sun. The eyes are carried skyward to Re, the sun itself. Sun in the desert is a central fact of life. Okay, the ziggurat 2100 BCE, Mesopotamian pyramid-like structures, flatter and wider than the Egyptian counterparts, imitating the shape of the foothills that lead to the mountaintops. Mountaintops were not only the source of precious water, but the dwelling place of the gods, symbolized a bridge between heaven and earth. And as you can see here too, the environment and the technology of the time is informing how the building itself is being built. This is Mesa Verde. The Anasazi cliff dwellings known as Spruce Tree House in southwest Colorado. The cave provided security but also brought the people living there closer to their origins. The Anasazi abandoned their cliff dwellings in 1300 CE, maybe because of drought or disease or war. Kiva, a round covered hole in the center of the communal plaza in which all ceremonies life took place. Down below in the enclosed kiva floor was a sipapu, a small round hole symbolic of the Anasazi's creation myth, which told of the emergence of the Anasazi's ancestors from the depths of the earth. Here is a diagram of what the kiva floor and the sipa would have looked like. So they could have climbed down into the earth, and that's where their celebrations would have taken place. So it's kind of interesting. So the picture before is where they lived above the opening, and then going down below would have been where the kiva would have been. Okay, you'll be watching a video that will explain this in more depth than I can. Load-bearing constructions are made with the walls themselves bear the weight of the roof. Okay, and examples of that would be roof pyramids and ziggurats. Architecture can be either shelf system or skeleton and skin. Okay, the shelf is very basic material, provides both structure and support outside covering. The skeleton, interior frame that supports fragile outer coverings. So on this one, the Lions Gate, Greece, 1250 BCE, low-bearing construction. The gate itself is called a post and lintel. Horizontal beam supports at each end of the vertical post or wall. Downward force of the horizontal bridge holds the vertical post in its upright position, and the post supports the stone above it in a give and take of directional forces and balances. Okay, so the corner of the first temple of Hera is in Italy. The columns or posts support the structure were placed relatively close together. Marble was required to span too great of a distance, so they would have likely cracked. The fluting runs the length of the columns and unites the individual drums into a single unit. Columns are made of several pieces of stone called drums. The columns taper towards the top and slightly to the bottom, known as entrances. It's Entassis. Entrances gives the column a sense of masculine and strength, the suggestion of the human body holding up the roof. Okay, this is the third time I've recorded this. So you'll be watching a video about the Greek orders. Real quick, you have a few words that you need to define. Acropolis is the top of a city. A colonnade is a row of columns set at regular intervals around the building supporting the roof. Elevation is the vertical design. Columns are made of three elements: platform, column, and entablature, which I don't think I asked you about. Doric is the earliest and plainest of the three orders. Plain capital considered masculine. So this is the type of column. The Ionic is elaborate and organic, slimmer and much lighter than Doric. And the Corinthian is more organic, decorative still, decorative with stylized leaves. The frieze is the horizontal band just above the architrave, decorated with relief sculpture elements. you'll be watching a video on arches, vaults, and domes. It'll give you more information than I can. This is the Pointe de Garde near Nives, France. The Romans organized, or actually recognized that the arch would allow them to make structures with a much longer span. Use wedged shapes called voussoirs, Vousssoirs. The voussoirs each cut in to fit into a semicircular form. An arch is not stable until the keynote, the stone at the very top, has been set into place. At that point, equal pressure is exerted by all stones on either side. The aqueduct used to carry water from distant hills in the Rome compounds to Nives, France.